Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next comment or question comes from Dub Element Music, and this was in response to initial setup options for the Roland TB3 video done in April 2019. And Dub writes, "The complete lack of useful manuals blows my mind. Roland is absolute garbage at this." I do find these sort of comments funny, and I'm not having a dig at Dub at all, but it's kind of, we see this all the time, in that these instruments that are being produced at the moment are so functional. You know, they've hidden lots of stuff in the instruments. I mean, if you look back at sort of the System 1 and the boutiques, you know, it's like there's a combination of buttons, switch something on or switch something off, or it's got an options, you know, there's a series of options that, you know, make it behave in a certain way, but you don't know what they are. And you know, then when you start to try and uncover what they are in the owner's guide, sometimes it is really difficult to read. I mean, what it does remind me of, I mean, you know, at least, you know, I think the A3 sheet that they give you when you buy a boutique actually isn't that bad, if I'm honest. It's kind of got all the major components there, but it doesn't have a lot of the hidden components there. They're the ones that you kind of have to go searching around the internet for the Easter eggs. But what I would say is, it is in English, as in it's not a direct translation of the Japanese manual that would have been written by the engineers in Japan when they were building the instrument, and it does tend to make sense. So from that's a thumbs up, you know. So Roland, thumbs up on that one. But if you go back and look at the sort of manuals you used to get in the 1980s with some of these legacy, you know, I think of, you know, the Roland D50 and the Yamaha DX7, you know, they were utter gobbledygook in some instances. You would sit and you would read and you'd read and you go, I'm following this, and then you realise they've missed a step out, so you don't actually understand what's going on, or it's not doing what you think it should be doing, or it doesn't say that if you want to do this you had to unset that. You know, there's loads of stuff like that just float around. So I actually think, you know, we've got better, but I think we've also got more complex. I'm not saying one is better than the other, if I'm brutally honest, because I'm kind of going to sit on the fence on that, but I've spent hours when I've got an instrument, even now, you know, I you know, most of you know that, you know, I split up with my ex-partner 10 years ago. I'm now with a very understanding partner, and my current partner will tell you the amount of hours I sit in front of a keyboard with a user manual, and typically my iPad, or sometimes with my laptop, searching the internet and cursing and swearing. So I do think the manuals have got better, but some people would say, you know, what you've got now is not very useful, but what I would say is it's a damn sight better than what you used to get back in the day, and that's kind of where I'm going to leave that. I'm recording this on a rather rainy January day, so if you hear rain on the roof on the soundtrack, it is because it is raining quite heavily out there. Anyway, next comment or question comes from MD Music Productions. And this was in response to battery warning light still on the Yamaha 99 TX1P factory reset. Mailbag I did in November 2024. And MD Music writes, "Hi. First, thanks a lot for sharing all that knowledge." Well, that's kind of what the channel is all about. I have a question regarding a replacement display for my SY99. The new one spills a high frequency tone which is noise after a while. Any suggestions on this? Now, I kind of thought I knew what this was, but I'm never 100% sure when people just write that sort of thing. So, first thing I wrote back and said was, I'm going to make an assumption that you've replaced the existing screen on the Yamaha SY99 with a newer OLED style screen. And if that was the case, which is kind of what most people do, then the high-pitched noise, I think, is being generated by the backlight display. In that, in the old display, you needed a separate power supply to the backlight from the, or a separate power feed to the backlight from the power supply to run it. Whereas the new OLED display doesn't consume as much power and therefore powers itself internally, and you get the nice OLED crisp characters without the need for a backlight. So that's kind of where my guess is, and that's where the annoying noise is coming from. And to remove the annoying noise, if that really is where it's coming from, what you need to do is you need to remove the component on the power supply that is making the hum, because you're trying to feed something through to a load that doesn't exist. So effectively, it's kind of feeding back on itself, electrically wise, and that's where the noise is coming from. That is my guess. And I hope that helps, because many other people have kind of said to me, I've replaced it with an OLED display and I'm getting a high pitch hum, and that I'm pretty sure that's where the noise is coming from.